Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Judi Jordan on the line, and she is a writer, producer, and entertainment journalist over at Judi Jordan Productions, and this episode is part of our AFM series where we bring you the best of the American film market and all of the people that participated and attended the conference and the show. So first thing first, Judi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. So happy to be here. Really honored.
All right. So we got a lot to talk about today. So I definitely want to get into your series, A History of Blood, and get into what that looks like, and especially making meaningful content for Latino audiences. So we'll get into that as well in the current state. But before we do, AFM, have you been in the past? Is this the first time going? Like, give me some of the backstory. I know you're an entertainment journalist. Like, where does your history with AFM begin?
Oh, my God. I think it began like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I thought so. Go ahead.
Yeah, I came back to the States. I lived in Europe for quite a while, and I returned from Paris, and I jumped into writing for the Latino community because I saw that as a neglected opportunity, to be honest. I mean, I'm part Latina, and I realized through a lot of my research for the series that I'm actually part Sephardic, so it was pretty shocking, but awesome. And AFM for me represented like the bridge between America and the rest of the world because it's an international film market. But it really is a film market, okay? It's not a festival. It's hardcore business. And
I get that AFM, feeling, and it's kind of fun because like everybody's there, right? Like the buyers, like the creative. It's kind of almost like a hodgepodge. Like everybody's there, not just there to celebrate one thing, but to do business. Do you get that impression? I mean.
Oh, it's nonstop. It's insane. I mean, this year they had like 285 registered companies from 35 countries and 6,132 attendees visited the market. Thank God they found a new location because I'm telling you, they had 2 seasons that were really disasters. And I mean, they admit it themselves. AFM in 2025 really felt like a reset. After the Lowe's was sold, they had to relocate these years, and they went to this strange hotel in Santa Monica, which was so dark it was like covered in brown carpet on the walls. It was the kind of place where you think, oh, somebody definitely died here, you know.
Yeah.
And then they went to Vegas, and that was, if anything, it was even worse, which is hard to imagine, but people just said forget about it. Yeah. And finally they came back with a real bang, the Fairmont.
Oh, the Fairmont was nice. Yeah, that place is nice.
It's kind of perfect. I mean, I'd never been in that hotel. As long as I've been in LA, it's weird, but they had 35 panels, an AI suite, outdoor meeting space, the filmmakers lounge, the lobby bar was packed. I mean, just packed. So it was a relief. And I found out from one of the guys, the elevator gentlemen who run the security, that people actually lived there too. So a lot of people relocated to the Fairmont from the fires. So you can imagine what an incredible mix that was and a lift. So and there was a couple of Latino panels. Well, there was one specific Latino panel, Latinos Navigating Hollywood, and then there were also Latino speakers on other panels, which I'll be happy to go into. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. I want to spend some time talking about what you're working on as well, too. So A History of Blood. How do you want to tee this up?
Well, 10 years ago, I was writing, I do a lot of ghostwriting. I was hired by a Mexican director to write a vampire script. And he wanted something that was a little historical. And I mean, so I went to the library. I mean, I'm not lazy. Everything you want is not always online. And you know, LA Library is a great place to go and just get lost. So I pulled out these books and I was like, oh my God, these are amazing. It wasn't extremely relevant to what I was hired to do, but it became something that just fascinated me, and I optioned the books to develop for TV. So that kind of really was my entry into trying to produce.
And so you go from there, and now take me down this journey, because so first you option the books, then what happens next?
Well, I optioned the books, and then I started pitching the project to potential, what they call showrunners or production companies. And, you know, this was a while ago. So I had a producer on board who got it to Shonda Rhimes, and that this was before their Bridgerton, where people have a way of changing their mind. So they weren't interested in a fully Latino story, but they saw the relevance of a story that was set in history with people of color. So If anything, I mean, I knew I was on the right track. And I've basically just been filling it out. And I've been to Spain 10 times, and I have a creative producer over there who's worked on many shows as a line producer, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Warrior Nun, those kind of level shows. So we've got some what they call letters of interest from some top talent, and it just takes time, and when you're doing it on your own and everything else. But currently I'm looking for a fantastic producing partner and the right director, because, look, this is a series of 5 books. We'll start in LA with a medieval curator who's sent to Spain to buy a castle for the museum. He finds out something very special about himself and his personal history. So and I grew up with Anne Rice books, and I always loved that. But I'm like, why aren't there any people that look like us in there? And I love Outlander, but I thought, well, why isn't there something that goes to Spain and Latin America with all of the incredible supernatural interest and the deep lore of cultures? So that keeps me going. A lot of people love it. They say it's so big. So that's when I realized, I need to go for co-producers. And that's what I'm working on now, international co-producers.
Yeah. What does it look like to get? I mean, it's hard enough to get any stories on screens. I mean, it's not an easy thing. What do you do when you're kind of working in that Latino niche? Like, is there more obstacles? Or like, I don't even want to put that out there. I just mean in general, it's hard to go after a niche. What does that look like? And how do you find those ideal partners or participants?
Well, okay, so those are 2 different questions. The niche is one thing, and I can tell you, this was what was kind of interesting about AFM. There was a panel there which was appropriately named. It was called Latinos Navigating Hollywood Challenges and Opportunities.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so you go in, you're thinking, hopeful. And,
like at least the people in the room were interested? I don't know. Go for it. I don't want to interject.
Well, the people that were in the room, because there were 35 panels at AFM. So they were back to back, and you had to make choices. Do I do this one? Do I do that one? For sure. Honestly, most of the audience were Latino. So it's kind of like preaching to the choir. But basically, we had Robert Munoz, who's president of Mucho Mas Media, Patricia Regan, the pretty famous director, Yolanda Macias, chief motion pictures officer of Cineverse, and Antonio Nadillo. He's a director of Chicago Med, Seventh and Union, and also my friend Rafael Agustin, who was a writer on Jane the Virgin, and he's written a pretty great book now. So those were people on the panel. So those are people that are I would say at the top of their game, and they were kind of not super happy, at what it takes to get the fair share of the business of their Latino market, but not just telling Latino stories. Telling any kind of stories is harder, apparently, for Latino creators and CEOs. And yes, indeed, the focus is more on Latino stories. And we're talking about the many ways of being Latino. This is what I noticed when I first came here and I was writing for Latin Style. I still write for Latin Heat after all these years. I love Bel Hernandez. She's been one of my buddies from way back. Also wrote for Latino leaders. I've interviewed amazing people. Del Toro, of course, both Del Toros, Guillermo and our other one. I've also interviewed Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz. And what I learned is that there's no one way to be Latino. That's just it. And that's part of the reason I think while Narcos was successful is because they took actors, Spanish-speaking actors from all over the world. So we weren't just hearing a Mexican or a Chilean accent or that's a
good point. I didn't think about that. Now that you say that in retrospect, that's a great point. Yeah, I never really considered that. I just kind of took it for granted because that's the way I see the world. But you're right, that was kind of new.
It was. And it was so successful. I'm not suggesting that every show be a Narcos because that's...
Yeah, for sure. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the greatest image. But, even Griselda with Sofia Vergara, she did a great job on that. Was the number one on Netflix for a while. So, it's about the story. It's about the story and how it has to be both culturally grounded and globally legible, universally relatable. It's not easy, I know. But it's finding that balance. And Netflix, especially in Spain and Latin America, remains a huge driver. I mean, with millions of subscribers in Spain and long-term investment commitments there, it's opened doors for Latino creators.
And what do you think about the recent acquisition, right? There's also a recent acquisition. I wonder what that ends up doing for the catalog.
Yeah, it's still in the fight or flight stage. You know,
not final.
Personally,
got it.
No, it's not final, but I'm praying. I mean, look, here's the thing. It's going to happen one way or the other. My money is on Netflix because it's a more fair palette, I would say, you know, and I don't want to get into politics, but there's definitely weight on the other side from other places. But I think that Netflix, by combining, they're very data-driven, okay? But they're with a Legacy Studios deep IP library and a global streaming platform, data distribution and production infrastructure, you could actually see premium IP-driven storytelling move faster and travel farther. So that's my thought on that.
That's exciting. That'd be a win for the creator.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of creators are not happy with the lack of profit sharing, I'm thinking, is part of it. But I think they're going to have to, I mean, I think Netflix is definitely going to have to make some changes in that level. But again, I don't have any insider information. Sorry.
For sure. This is about opinions, Judi. Well, this has been a lot of fun having you on today and getting to know a little bit more about your work and obviously your experience over at AFM. That being said, if people want to follow up or continue to follow your work, whether it's a history of blood or anything else you're working on or in general, how do people connect?
Well, they can find me on IG at Judi Jordan Writer. They can find me on my website, JudiJordan.com. That's JudiJordan.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn. So, you know, any of those places is a great way to find me. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing much more Latino content that is global, because that's really the key. I mean, Europeans love international. Okay, so even if 20% of the United States population is Latino, we're not getting the 20% of the budget for programming. That's for sure. You know, festivals, when we try to do festivals, we don't get everything that we need for that either, as Raphael was pointing out, because he was running the Latino Film Festival from Los Angeles. And now he's down to doing basically documentaries because the funding. So we have to find a way to really consolidate, I feel, and not be divided by individual cultures. Because that's what I was discussing this with an agent last night who's a good friend of mine, and he says, why isn't this stuff getting made? And I said, okay, here's part of it. You know, Latino is not one culture. And this is what a lot of people who are not Latino don't understand. So you've got all these amazing but very different cultures that have different ideas and histories and backgrounds. And Latinos are prolific entrepreneurs, which means independent thinkers, which means that they don't always want to go along with the program of perhaps Cubans and Puerto Ricans and Dominicanos, and everybody doesn't always agree on everything just because they're speaking the same fundamental language. So this is something that a lot of people, I mean, Latinos get it, but it doesn't mean that we've conquered it. Yeah. So hopefully, A History of Blood can take people from Los Angeles to Spain to Mexico to France to England and then to India through this one character. So I'm hoping that this can perhaps have that kind of effect. You never know. It's worth a try.
Wonderful. Yep, wonderful. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can connect with Judi. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. You heard me correct. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So hit that subscribe or follow. And Judi, it's really been a pleasure, and I look forward to continuing to follow your work. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Adam, and I'm really honored. I love your show.